Welcome to Small Business Show. My name is Swire from Garuda Promo. Today we have Harvey Slater, a nutritionist and a wellness coach. How you doing, Harvey?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Swire.
I'd love to have you on the show. I actually have all the discussion topic that you sent me, and we got a lot of questions for you in terms of nutrition and wellness.
Awesome.
The first question I have for you is, we all been to supermarket and we saw how the lines are going crazy, and some of the food and produce are out of stock, but some are still available. From your point of view, are there ways, we could utilize food there people aren't hoarding at the supermarket?
Right. Well, first of all, I think it's important for people to understand that the COVID-19 pandemic is not a food shortage crisis.
Right.
There will be no shortage of food. The food is still being produced, and as long as there's a demand, we have plenty of food production on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the distribution system is not compromised in any way, shape, or form. I think a lot of people are just scared that they're going to have to stay home and they want to have their food available. So with that, don't feel like you have to buy all of the beans and rice and pasta, because you can actually buy and use perishable food and then just manage your trips back to the store, so maybe you're not going back quite as frequently. So I'm going to focus on food that I notice no one ever goes to over the last 2 weeks, and that is the produce department.
Nice.
No one wants to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. And the funny thing is, when you just look at the basic science of our body's ability to defend from a viral infection, it's really just about being strong and supporting your immune system. Now,
Right.
I'm not here to say that there's a cure for coronavirus. That's not my point.
Mm-hmm.
But we know from science and evidence that people who have a stronger immune system, who have stronger bodies, are going to survive a viral infection more likely than somebody who's weak. That's why older people tend to die more from COVID-19. It's just because their bodies are weak and overtaxed from living longer than the rest of us, really.
Now they're young people, too, but then I guess, the stronger and more healthy you are, the better that, you can weather it.
That's why you see all the time they say underlying health conditions. So even if you're young with an underlying health condition, or if your body's feeling overstressed, you can still develop more critical symptoms of COVID-19. So having said all that, now, this is an argument that everyone should be focusing on more fresh fruits and vegetables, because these are the foods, along with protein, that are going to deliver the highest concentration of high antioxidants, immune supporting foods. So while everyone else is hoarding the beans and rice and canned food, you can go straight to the produce department. And what I would recommend, the easiest thing to do, is to try to fill your basket with as many different colors and textures as possible. And then the best thing to do is just take a few ingredients, take a few things, maybe find the vegetable that nobody wants and go and get it. And then, ask the storekeeper, what is this, if you don't know what it's called, and just go and start Googling like soup recipes with that ingredient.
Wow.
That's a really easy way to just figure out an easy way to make it. The reason I advocate for soup making right now is that you can make soup ahead and you can put it in your freezer. So it's a way to process fresh vegetables into a form that is now, that you can now store for more long-term. So you can put those fresh vegetables into a soup, make it, and freeze it. If you want to add protein and everyone's hoarding all the meats and stuff, go to like your tempeh or tofu. People don't, unless you're vegan or maybe of an Asian background, you're not going to hoard tofu for the most part. Most people are going for chicken and bacon and turkey and beef. You know what I mean? Most basic Americans. So go to get some tofu, and don't worry about whether you've tried it before, whether you like it or not. Right now, it's just about getting some protein into your body and having it for your family. And when you go to like the Army surplus stores where they have those food supplies for,
I don't like those.
That's all soy-based products, really, and all it is. It's all soy-based meat that you can store for years and years and years in food storage. So that's all it is. So tofu is just a better version of that. It's fresh. It's a healthy fermented legume, and you can cut it into pieces and put it in your soup, and then you've got a great soup that can be stored in the freezer. So that's what I would say would be a really good approach. Anything else, like you go into the beans and they're all gone. Then you go to the bulk section and they're all gone. And the only thing left is like mung beans. So we tend to not buy things because they're not familiar to us.
Right.
Mung beans are just another legume. They're just like any other kind of bean. They have their own little personality and their own benefits to offer, but we don't think we want them because we just don't know them. And we're very nervous about things we're not familiar with. The facts about mung beans is that they're actually super nutritious. So they're actually better for helping your body than a lot of the other beans that are in that bulk section. So grab those mung beans and cook them just like you would anything else. Another fun idea would be taking something like a mung bean, and if you want a fun project with your family and you're sitting there and going, well, if we're going to be locked up for a month, we can't bake cookies for a month. We're all going to be like completely fat and sick by the end of 30 days or 60 days, right? So a healthy project you can do with your kids would be to take those mung beans or take some sunflower seeds or lentils or anything like that and do a sprouting project. It's really easy. If you don't have a sprouting jar, you can make one by taking a basic mason jar and poking holes in the top of the lid. Or maybe if you can swing by Whole Foods, they might have some sprouting jars right now in the next trip to the store. And then again, you can just Google, how to sprout. There's tons and tons of information.
Yeah, I actually did that when I was in elementary school a long time ago. So those are fun. You like watching it, and then you can just eat it. It's very nutritious.
Well, right. And one thing about mung beans, when you get those mung beans sprouted, and you sprout them just to the point where the little tail starts coming out. You don't want to you can oversprout them and they even grow in volume, which is fine. But if you get them just when they're coming out, there's all sorts of recipes for Indian braised mung beans and all sorts of great stuff. I mean, you can just have a blast with your family in the kitchen, cooking nutritious foods that are actually going to support your immune system, make you healthier and stronger. And try to think of other foods people overlook if you notice that the cheese is all gone or the dairy products are all gone, go over to where the flour and seasonings, usually you can find nutritional yeast. And that is a degerminated yeast product that was originally invented by the Bragg people who make the Bragg amino acids. And they're kind of old school vegetarian hippie kind of people. And they came out with this, we've been using it for years, but now because veganism is more popular now and people are practicing holistic health practices more nowadays, nutritional yeast has become a little more well-known, but it's a great cheese and dairy flavor substitute. So you can add that to your pasta, your Caesar salad, and it gives you a B vitamin complex, and it has a dairy, buttery kind of flavor to it. It's very nutritious. And if you Google some vegan quick cheeses or go on my recipe blog, I have some cheeses. You can actually make plant-based cheeses out of almonds and cashews and nutritional yeast. And then you don't need to buy the cheeses at the store because you're actually making your own cheese. So you could actually, if you really want cheese for your family, you can just go load up on a bunch of raw almonds or cashews and grab some nutritional yeast, make sure you get some lemons, and you can actually be making your own cheese, which is pretty awesome.
One trend I noticed, going on Facebook is I'm surprised to see how many people are actually baking themselves now. Like my wife been baking a lot of different bread, and YouTube is a wonderful resource. And
Yes.
we Google how to bake bread, like any kind of bread, that you've been experiencing. And we bought flour at the market. It actually it takes time, but then it tastes a lot better than the store-bought ones too. Right. And I think one thing I want to point out, I like my smoothies anyway. So another thing is, throw a lot of vegetables in there, things that you like to drink, and put it in there, mix it up. And for, like you said, the ones that kind of over and you don't want to eat it raw, you can put it into soup. That's and then we kind of it's still hard to come by for a chicken. So we'll actually cook the chicken, and then the bone, we'll save the bone and actually put that into the vegetable soup, and then it brings out the flavor, and then you just use the whole thing right now. And I like the soup idea.
And the bone and the collagen benefits and things you're going to get off the bone, actually, when you cook the bones really slowly, are going to give you some added benefits.
Yeah, they charge you a lot buying supplement, like $40, and you can actually get it from that naturally.
That's right. Now, another thing, I'm glad you mentioned that. If you're worried and if you're a little worried about a lack of food or shortage. And listen, fear is a natural emotion. It's a natural response of our fight or flight nervous system, right? So feeling afraid of what's coming is really natural, and nobody should feel bad about that. But just make sure you make rational choices, right, in the process. But if you're a little worried about food shortages, one thing you can do is go to the market like Sprouts, go into the supplement section and get like a Garden of Life raw meal. It's a full meal replacement supplement. You can
Is
get
it a pill or is it in
no, it's
powder
a
form?
powder. And one scoop is like a little meal basically. And so you can get a couple jars of that. I mean, one jar is like 30 portions. So if you get, a couple jars of that, and then they have another product called Perfect Food. It's in the other supplement area, and it's a green concentrated powder of superfoods. And you put a scoop of each in there, and you've got a really high nutrient dense with some calories and some protein. And you could, if you really, if things got really bad, you could just live on that for a couple weeks, if you needed to. And
Interesting.
yeah, and here's the thing about vegetables and perishable and fruit. Most vegetables and fruits you can just cut up and put in freezer bags and just throw them in the freezer. You don't have to boil them. You don't have to process them. In fact, it's better if you just freeze them fresh because they maintain more of their nutrients that way and minerals.
Okay.
And
Really?
and the balance of minerals is going to help your nervous system stay intact a little bit better. And when your nervous system is more intact, you're able to deal with stress a little better. There's a lot of underlying functions of our bodies that we take for granted that are bouncing around right now when we're trying to deal with all this crazy information coming out every day. And the more you can keep your body balanced and healthy, hydrated, mineral balanced, phytonutrients, micronutrients, the better you're going to be able to have it. You're going to have a better underlying ability to deal with all this stress. We don't really feel it on the surface in an acute way, but in an underlying way, it's going to make a difference for you in the long run, right? Because our body is designed to help us survive. So we're going to start taxing our adrenal glands and all sorts of other things if we're not really taking good care of ourselves. So you can always freeze vegetables and fruits. The only vegetables you can't really freeze are like lettuce and stuff. That would get really gross.
Yeah.
But anything like, anything, maybe not eggplant. I've never frozen eggplant before, but you can freeze zucchini, green beans, snap peas, peppers, pretty much tomatoes, pretty much anything else you could throw in. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been staying home pretty much the last week, and we've been cooking from home like 3 meals a day. So I feel that it actually better than if we would go out on the weekend to restaurants. Actually, we live very simple. We don't have like fancy ingredient right now because of the shortage.
Yeah.
But I think we're eating better. We're eating more fruits, drinking more water, and I want to ask you this question. Like normally we eat more than we should anyway, but now people are loading up from Costco, they buy crazy amount. Like they're probably eating more and eating not as healthy. So
Probably.
what would you suggest, us, feeling emotionally stressed and we just want to eat the chips and watch Netflix compared to, spending the time, like you said, make it a project with the kids and, make it fun and then you eat it at the end, which tastes better anyway.
Yes, that's correct. And emotional eating and wanting to indulge in comfort foods it's a natural coping mechanism. And what I teach my clients in nutrition coaching is when they have an urge to overeat or emotional eat, when your body craves something out of an emotional response or fear, that is actually just your body's attempt to solve a problem. That's really all it is. If we personalize it and say, oh, I'm bad because I'm eating this food and I can't control myself, that is not really the best way to look at it, because ultimately your body just wants to solve a problem. So if you can just take a step back and understand the circumstances around you and give your body some credit for wanting to solve the problem, and then think about, how can I better support my body to deal with this right now so that it can actually solve the problem it's looking to solve, but also be supported, and just try to make a little bit better, a little bit healthier choices. Right now is the time to go all or nothing and say, oh, I'm going to now become, I'm going to go on a detox, unless you're up for that kind of a challenge. Right now, just the time to take small steps and see where you can just improve your nutrition and support your body in as what's the easiest pathway to support yourself the best way possible, and give yourself that support, and just take baby steps. So maybe with the family, you make cookies one day, and then you take on a more challenging, healthy cooking project the next day, something like that.
Okay. What about for those of us who like to eat meat, fish and poultry? Like it's still hard to come by right now. Like, are there any good substitutes, especially for people who likes a lot of protein or may like work out, want to get,
Yeah.
bigger muscle? Like, what would you suggest?
Well, again, going back to this is where supplements come in handy. You can grab some protein powder or collagen powder and add a scoop of collagen to your soup. Now, collagen isn't, you want to make sure it's the collagen protein. It actually has a decent amount of protein in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a complete protein, but that's okay, because you'll make up for the protein in other foods. But in general, if you were to go for, like, let's just say non-meat sources of protein, just going down the list of which foods provide the most protein from plants, starting with soy. So that just takes us back to tofu.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tofu, any kind of beans, legumes, peas, green peas, fresh green peas, black beans, any of that stuff, mung beans. And then moving on to grains. And then if people are taking all the rice, go into like the Bob's Red Mill section, where those weird grains are that you never know anything about.
Yeah. People usually left those, like there's a lot of those.
So buckwheat is a complete super grain. It's not even a grain, actually. It's considered like a pseudo grain. It's more like a seed. It's way better for you. It has a complete protein. Teff is an Ethiopian grain that kind of acts like polenta. If you've ever made grits or polenta, you can make teff the exact same way. It's delicious. It's got a nutty flavor. Let's see, what else in grains? There's quinoa, there's amaranth, there's, what's the other grain that's like amaranth? Millet. All of those grains you can basically just cook. Some of them are more porridge-like, some of them are gonna be more rice-like, and just experiment with them, put them in a pan with a little bit of water, cook it for a while, see how it cooks down. And that's gonna give you some good protein. And then you can, like some teff that's cooked kind of like porridge with some marinara sauce and some grilled zucchini. It's a really great combination. You can even add a little bit of beans to that, and you've got a plant-based, protein-packed, nutritious meal. So you don't always need the meat you can live without meat if you want to, actually.
Yeah.
But for people who do eat meat, that's perfectly acceptable. But yeah, if you're having trouble finding meat, you don't have to freak out. You can make up for it other ways.
Yeah, I just make a joke the other day, if you're a vegetarian or vegan right now, you're coming out ahead.
Yeah, you can also take, like, just to give yourself some basic micro protein support, you could get like some complete amino acid pills, like essential amino acids, EAAs. And you could take a dose of those in the morning when you wake up. And what that does is, amino acid is really just the bioavailable form of protein. Your body breaks it down into peptides and then into amino acids. And then once it's into amino acids, it goes into your bloodstream and it goes to your muscles. And that's where it starts rebuilding your muscle tissue. So another thing, if you're feeling down, or if you've contracted COVID-19 and you're experiencing symptoms, you want to make sure you're getting good essential protein, because that helps your body recover faster. Mm-hmm. Those essential amino acid pills, you could take them first thing in the morning, or take them after a workout or in between meals, just to give you a little extra protein support. Doesn't have any calories, so it's not quite the same as eating real protein, but it can give you a little extra support to support your muscles.
Okay. So I think it makes sense, because like there's nobody. I just went to the market this morning. People are lining up at the meat counter, but the produce department, there's nothing. They actually have sales right now, because they want people to go over there instead of go to the meat counter.
Yeah, I'm always joking around on Facebook and showing pictures saying, "Lucky for me, nobody hoards the fruits and vegetables." You know? Yeah.
What about for people who may feeling stressed and they drink alcohol? People like to say to cut the edge down. Look, what would be your suggestion for that? And are they body less likely to be infected with the virus, or what do you think?
Well, no, I can't say whether something's going to protect someone from getting infected or not. I don't think anyone can. Mm-hmm. Infection is infection. You get infected when somebody who is infected somehow gets some kind of human excrement on you, and then it gets into your body. That's how you get infected, basically. So anybody can be infected. It's who is actually going to survive the infection. That is really what it boils down to. So when we're talking about functional wellness and the cause and effect of how our bodies function and respond to the environment they're exposed to, right? And how this pertains to surviving a pandemic, this is not the time to be doing anything that's going to abuse your body or bog it down or occupy its resources, having to detox. You want to give your body a super big, nourishing, healthy hug and give it all the support that you can right now. Now, I understand that it's stressful, and I can understand wanting to run to drinking because that's going to calm you down. And so there's no judgment at all there. I completely understand why someone would want to do that. But when you look at the science of what alcohol actually does to your body, you're actually only giving yourself temporary relief because it's blocking your it's blocking out your senses. So what it's doing is it's blocking your body's ability to feel the stress, but it actually ends up generating more stress on your body because your body has to go back now and it has to take resources to detoxify the alcohol.
And you're dehydrated.
And it dehydrates you and all sorts of other things. There's also lots of studies. I don't want to say millions because I don't know if that's true, but there are a lot of, metaphorically speaking, there are a lot of studies that point to alcohol putting a strain on your immune system. So just as a general practice, really try to ease off on the alcohol if you can right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel like having a drink, stop, have a glass of water, take a deep breath, think it through a little bit, see if you can wait 10 or 15 minutes, and then see if that urge is gone or not, or do your favorite de-stressing activity. So just try to slow down and make rational choices. I mean, I know this is a scary situation for all of us. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I don't get up in the morning and look at the stock market and freak out a little bit. I think we all do. But when you really look at it, we have all the time in the world now. No, we're not going anywhere. This is a golden opportunity to slow down and start taking better care of yourself. Think about all of the health and wellness things you've wanted to do for yourself that you've always had excuses.
Yeah. You have no time now. You have time, so just plan for it.
I mean, we can all emerge like these healthy, happy superhumans out of this. Really, it's all how you frame it and how you look at it, right?
Yeah, actually, I have a 14-year-old son. We actually started him on a 30-day challenge. He wants to do better push-ups and he wants to do some pull-ups. So
awesome.
Now is a better time. We break it up into sections. Then he'll still doing schoolwork, and then for recess he'll just do the training. He's eating good at home, and not eating, like, we don't go out to the market to buy junk food right now, so he's eating healthy. So we can see that he has improvement already on his physical goals. So I think it helps. I think lean into that. I have a question for you. So if a person who is willing to listen to you 100% completely, can you walk us through from the morning, your routine, lunch, to dinner, and then in between the wellness and nutrition things that you recommend people to do?
Well, okay, that's hard to say because everybody is uniquely different, and one person's regimen is not going to work for another person. What I will say is that you want to find out where you can put things in two columns, things that are helping me and healthy for me to do right now, and things that are just making me weaker or making me crazy, and try to divide them a little bit. Things that I know are not good for me, things that I know would be better if I did them, right? And then from this I know things aren't good for me column, see if you can remove one or two things each day, or even one thing for the whole time that you're doing your stay at home lockdown. Whatever you're up to doing, when you do pick that thing, ask yourself, can I do this consistently and successfully every day? Is this something I can see myself sticking to? If it's not, go back and break it down and make it a little bit simpler. Then over on the things that I think are better for me column, see if you can add in, and add in as many things as you can see yourself doing and take away as many things as you can see yourself taking away, and then move through it that way. An example of my day right now, I'm not going into my office at all. My clients are seeing me on telehealth sessions. So I'm pretty much staying home. I get up and I do a smoothie with vegetables and stuff for breakfast. My favorite workout studio, Basecamp Fitness, is sending a daily workout, at-home workout. So I try to do that if I can. And then I take the dogs out for a hike or I go for a run. And then for lunch, I make sure I get either a salad or a hot meal. And I'm doing a challenge right now where I'm getting 2/5 of vegetables per meal. So I just make sure, and I'm making sure that I get plenty of protein and I'm keeping my fat down. That's just a personal preference. So I just make sure I check in and go, am I getting 2/5 of vegetables right now? And if I'm not, I go back and rethink my lunch, because it's easy to walk into the kitchen and grab some tortillas and some hummus and some salsa, or I have this goat milk butter that I love, and I'll make like tortillas and I'll warm them up and I'll rub goat milk butter all over them. And I'll just eat a bunch of those for lunch, which isn't really healthy. So I have to stop and go, wait a minute, where are my 2/5 of vegetables, right? So just setting up simple guidelines for yourself that are easy to follow. And I have all sorts of tools. So if anyone wants to follow me or reach out to me, I can help them with tools where you can use hand portion guides. I give 15-minute free phone consultations, and I'm happy to do that for anyone right now. There are no buying obligations or strings attached. So anyone, right now, we're just hanging out trying to figure out how to get through this. So if anyone needs help with anything, they can just reach out to me.
And now I'll definitely include all the links for your website and social media for viewer who might be interested in finding out. And I think you're right. Now it's a good time. We have a little bit more time. We don't have to commute. There's no traffic. So from maybe some of us are 2-3 hours already. So why don't use those time to plan something that is good for you? Maybe whatever this challenge is us we're facing, somebody is going to come out ahead and maybe be more healthy.
Right, exactly. Well, hopefully. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're saying that our planet's already more healthy just because we're not putting
less smog. Yeah,
we're not taxing the planet so badly right now, which is kind of cool. It'd be neat if we could learn something out of that. Be sure in the links you include my YouTube channel, because I have lots of cooking videos in there. Yeah, that are helpful. Yeah.
Okay, so Harvey, thank you so much for coming on today. You have good information. I took a lot of notes, and I'm gonna try some recipe that you recommended.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for having me. That was fun.
Take care. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.